It's being streamed. Most people watching it. Want to start? Christina?
Who's this person?
Whoever wants to join can just join.
Christina? Oh, I think that's KCL.
Okay. Can you keep I'll keep it the heat. Let's do this one. This is the We're gonna do that.
About 20. I think pizza can be
Alright guys, take a seat. We're gonna start in like 1 minute.
Yep. Hello. Guys, settle down. We're gonna start now.
Okay guys, welcome to the Abacus 2021-2022 AGM. We're going to start very promptly. We're going to be starting with the sports sec. So John, please come up here. So we're going to do sports sec and then PO. And then afterwards, we're going to take a quick pizza break. And then we'll go from there, I guess.
So, for each role, everyone running for that role has to go outside, and we'll call you in. And once that person is done, we'll call another person in. And until everyone is done, you're not allowed back in because, we don't want you to cheat. So, cool. Let's start with Don. Guys, settle down.
Am I doing the slides?
Yeah, press the slides.
Wait, do you have to press anything? Wait, Brian, do you have to press anything or are you just talking to Salutations. you'll get the attention.
Excuse me, everyone. I'm about to start. Have silence. Being one of the only 7 from Imperial to attend the grueling 9 a.m. Abacus basketball tournament, having a near 100% attendance record in all Abacus events, and being a proud member of 5 ABBA families, I think my dedication for this society speaks for itself. So why committee? I want to put this dedication into bettering the society for the fresh faces and for you current members. I want others to experience the same joys, form the same lasting friendships, and spark the same love for this beautiful community. I will also be a friendly face outside of the society too. You can easily recognize me and approach me for a friendly chat about literally anything. Sports section is also a position I hold close to my heart. This year, I began a journey with my good friend Dominic to better myself through physical activity. I really want to be a part of this journey for others too, sometimes not even in the most obvious ways. Our current sports sec, Cassius, does so much behind the scenes in preparation for these sports events, and I want to do the same. In fact, I've kind of started in this path already. For example, I volunteered to referee some of the games in the basketball tournament. I also have some exciting new ideas in store for next year. I hope to see you then as the newest sports sec. Catch me at all the remaining events this year. I would like to now end with a short poem continuing B and Prune's tradition. Acrostic poem. All of these societies, Abacus the best. Basketball and football are skills put to the test. Amazingly good friendships and community. Chinese heritage, strength and unity. University students all having a great time. Smiling with confidence, hopefully sports sec will be mine. Thank you. All right, does anybody have any questions for me?
Okay, thank you, John, for that amazing speech. So I just have a few questions about like trying to test whether or not you know this role enough. So my first question is, how would you go about efficiently advertising certain sports so that the least amount of time and effort is spent advertising things that people aren't interested in?
So I've actually found this year the main source of information was the Abacus WhatsApp and the weekly newsletters. So I plan to advertise the sports events, include any links necessary in both of these forms of media. I feel like these are the most easily accessible to people, and yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And another question leading on from that is, how would you make freshers more enthusiastic into joining the sports teams and attending the events?
Yeah, so I was planning actually to host some sort of weekly or fortnightly sports events. This can really help the freshers settle in, not only through finding which sports suit them best or what they enjoy doing the most, but they can also form friendships early on during the year, which they can then continue to maintain.
How would you decide which sports to run, and also how would you plan this out efficiently within carrying it out every fortnightly?
Yeah, so I'm going to be hosting Google Forms like you guys have done this year in the WhatsApps or in the emails, where participants can choose which sport they would like to do the most. And so it will be done based on popularity. In terms of organizing these events, most of the indoor events, I believe Ethos would be the best choice. They normally have availability. It's really easily accessible to everyone and not too expensive, I believe. It was £25 per hour for half court. I will have to speak with the treasurer with organizing this. In terms of larger outdoor events such as football or rugby, we will look into finding slightly cheaper outdoor venues available for hire.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sure. In the past, these weekly events, such as weekly football gatherings, they mostly have been boys only. how would you integrate girls? It doesn't have to be football, but how would you encourage girls to have their own weekly sporting event?
That's a good question. I think we could do some sort of interest poll to see if girls would be interested in, firstly, their own separate sessions in case they didn't feel comfortable playing with the boys, for example. We can probably accommodate having a separate session for them as well if the interest was high. Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Got more? Okay, go ahead. Okay, if you could change something about how sports was managed this year, how would you change it and why?
I would say maybe an inclusion of a wider range of sports. So, for example, this year we've only done football, basketball, climbing, badminton. Maybe I try accommodate a few other sports such as table tennis, netball, fencing, lacrosse, if enough people are interested. Or we could have like a marathon park run sort of style if people really want to as well. But yeah.
Also, do you have any other sporting commitments on the weekends in particular?
Yes, I do attend. So actually, right after this, I have a basketball training at Euston. Then on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons, I also do basketball. I don't really do any other sports because that's my main sport.
All right. So this job, like any other committee position, involves a lot of multitasking at times. Are you prepared to integrate this into your regular uni life?
Yeah, so I think I've managed this quite well already this year. I've been able to attend not only the largely publicized Abacus events, I've also been able to attend all the smaller family get-togethers as well, while balancing the very, very busy schedule of a mathematics student. So I believe I can keep this up for next year, especially with the duties of a committee officer.
Okay, thank you. Last question. What's your 1 rep max for bench?
10 kg less than my body weight.
Which is?
Just above 60 kg.
Fair enough.
I'll be bettering this on my gym journey, however. Thank you. Thank you.
Where's the top left bit? Go to POs now.
Yeah, right, yeah. Okay, thank you, John, for that. You could be better at bench, but it's okay. We will move on to publicity officer next. So everyone who is running for PO, please stand up so I know who you are. And whoever isn't next, please sit outside for the next 15 minutes. Yes, you do, Jody. Oh, not Jody, Sherry. Yeah, if you're first, you stay here. It's not, it's Chloe Tan. There's already predetermined. Wait, John, where'd you put your mic? Where'd you put your mic? Okay.
No, I think we should ask like.
You did well. Yeah, I know.
No, tell him to pick the best one out of all of them.
Unless everyone votes for
Let's decide which one is it. This is I like cherries and I like ice plus. Wait, that's what
I kind of put him on the spot.
Mm.
I asked you that last year too.
I like this is good.
That was one of my questions. Last year as well.
Wait, is it 10 minutes per person?
I also forgot. I remember it.
Can I control the power?
Probably.
I want.
I also told him about these points. Who the fuck wants to play games?
Okay, you can start, Chloe.
Hi, my name's Chloe, and today I'm going to talk about why I think I'm going to be the next best publicity officer for Abacus. I'm quite confident and I'm friendly, and I'll make sure all the members feel welcome, and I'll spread the word about Abacus and its events with enthusiasm. So, for example, a lot of my friends aren't really into clubbing. They're part of Abacus, but they don't like clubbing. And I managed to convince them to come, and now they really, really like it, and they like Abacus even more. And I promise, as publicity officer, I'll do my best to continue that and do that with other people as well. I'm an avid social media person who watches her Instagram feed more than her lectures, and managing the Abacus account would be no different. I will try and vary the style of posts on Abacus Instagram, branching into teaser videos or reels instead of just photos to broadcast how great Abacus really is. For example, I really like TikTok at the moment, so making TikToks featuring certain events I think would be really interesting. I take so many photos, I'm pretty much already Abacus's photographer already, especially from club nights that we red-faced Asians have probably forgotten about. Every time I go on the Instagram, I'm looking at it and I'm like, can't quite remember that happening. So hopefully if I get onto committee next year, I'll be the ones taking those photos. And I already have a separate Instagram account where I take my own casual, candid photos, which I think would really fit the vibe of Abacus Instagram account quite well. When a query needs to be answered, I'll reply in an instant. Imagine leaving people on days delivered, cough off Jody. I'm really organized and I like planning, so I'll happily assist other members of the committee. I'm really artistic, so graphic designing for Abacus to procrastinate even further on university work will be just amazing. I've met so many friends here and Abacus have supported me when I've been settling into university, making a really scary experience an exciting one. Therefore, I want to do my part to contribute back to a society that feels like my home. I hope to be involved in running Abacus and to help others the way it helped me. I promise I'll take my role as PO really seriously. Thank you for your time.
Okay, wait, I'm just gonna say, what do you think makes a good banner design, and what are the elements you need to have on a banner?
On a banner, so I think that a good banner needs to be obviously very clear, concise, a font that's appealing but that people can read it. What goes on a banner? Well, what the event is, the date, the time of it, and yeah.
What specifically needs to be included if you're designing a banner like with another university?
What do you mean banner? Do you mean like an Instagram thing or like?
Yeah, just like something promoting the event.
Oh, okay. Wait, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
What specifically would you need to include on a banner for an event with another university?
You need to include the unis that's on it in collaboration with whatever uni it is, or a collaboration with London Abacus. There's always a crest. And just details about the event, date, time, price, what the event is, briefs, yeah.
Cool. So besides making banners and designing the tickets, what else does a PO need to do?
You need to post on Instagram about it, essentially promote it, talk to others about it, assist other committee members when you can. I feel like that's a really important one because obviously the committee members are so busy. It'll be good to help each other out.
Yeah. Do you know about designing the membership card for next year?
What of it? Like, do I know I have to do that?
Yeah.
No, I did not know I have to do that, but I will happily try.
Basically, all the abacus POs at like the different London unis have to design a membership card for next. Do you know what has to be on it?
I can't lie, no. I presume Abacus membership. My own card was just red with Abacus membership on it. I'm presuming something similar to that.
No, it's fine. I didn't know.
Sorry about that.
No, it's basically it has to be the Chinese zodiac themed. So the one for next year would be rabbit.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that makes sense.
What are you going to use to make the graphics?
Oh, I used Canva. I really like it. It's very it's easy to use. I realized like I could pretty much do whatever I wanted on it, and it was free, which is good because student budget.
And when you're designing a ticket for like a clubbing event, for example, how many ticket faces do you use?
Ticket faces. 2 or 1? Oh, okay.
Okay, whatever. What do you think? Could I ask you to critique your designs?
Critique
your designs.
Oh, critique. I feel like that one is a little bit messy. Now I'm looking at it. There's a lot going on, and I feel like it could be done a little bit more daintily, I guess. Like it's just a bit full on, and the colors are a bit bright. And for that one, I'm not sure if I like. I feel like it doesn't reflect Chinese New Year that well. Like it does because of the tigers and all, but it's not got like the Oriental kind of vibe to it as much as other designs have.
What else do you think needs to be on it? Like if we were to post this on Instagram, what else would you need to put on them?
Maybe like what it is. Like I've just kind of put Chinese New Year. I've not stated that it's a clubbing event.
Just adds like the imperial logo. Like.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So what if someone asks you to design something like at the last minute for like that night or for the next day? How are you going to balance that with your work?
I mean, doing these are really fun for me anyway. I genuinely really enjoy designing. So if someone told me to do it for that night, I would genuinely just stop what I was doing, get it done. And doing that would be like a break from whatever I was doing before. Let's say it was schoolwork. It'll just be a nice, like, relaxing thing to do.
So you think you'd be able to manage it?
Yeah, definitely.
Think about our current social media presence and what would you improve? What would you improve about?
Say that again, sorry.
What would you improve about our current social media presence?
I'd say a variety of posts. So far, I've only really seen photos and maybe the occasional video. Like I've said, reels, like TikToks, something to mix up a little bit. Maybe post more often, maybe like countdowns towards certain events, and yeah, things like that.
Ideas with what to do with Instagram and Facebook?
I like to collaborate with other unis more. I'm not really sure how I'd get about doing it, but I think I could definitely learn from someone else, like how I would collaborate and communicate with other unis better. I'd maybe start like mini, I don't know, like forums. Is that, yeah, like a Q&A kind of forum on the Instagram, because I think, because I always just attack like Luca if I need a query. So I feel like maybe a forum, just a chat for everything to go on. Maybe make it anonymous, I'm not sure, but just like a Q&A kind of thing would be quite good.
If you had to critique this year's PO, what would you say?
Reply faster. I'm joking. Critique this year's PO. Just that, really.
Okay, list all the universities in Abacus.
UCL, LSE, Kings has to. Oh, Imperial. Is there one more? How many are there? Okay, eight. Queen Mary's, St. George's. No. UAL. Oh God. Yeah, no, I'm not entirely sure. I only know a couple of them.
Boaz, Goldsmiths, and Brunel.
I could not. I didn't even know that.
I knew that.
I know SOAS existed. Forgot about that.
Okay, wait, time's up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
We're done. We're done.
Okay, you can take a seat.
Okay, we're done.
We have Yasmin. Yasmin.
Happy birthday, Azar! Happy birthday! Who's the next? Please, Judy, when you all ask the questions. Okay. And then like.
Oh shit. No, this kid.
I find it really hard. Rajika.
How many people are there?
Not that many. I think everyone really likes art nowadays. I really overhyped it. I was like,
Is this more? What the fuck?
yeah, low-key. I was like,
Luca? There should be another post. There's a short video.
Yeah, I was like, shit.
I don't think it's done properly.
what was planning with the green square?
Like panic.
How have you been here?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we get the file. If it goes to Cherry. We have the graphic here. Yeah.
I don't know.
I really
Yeah.
do you want? Which one's your favorite out of the three numbers?
They're all the same.
Let's do two because it says 1 days, and I feel like you want the grammar.
2 or 3. 3, yeah.
Three's nice.
Why is everyone leaving? Why are they all leaving? They're getting the pizza. Oh, do you want me to time it? I can time it.
And then we'll just show this when you
Okay,
can
you're
spend
gonna
it on when you want to.
You're gonna do it. We're
I have to go. Actually, I can stand over here if you want to do it. I'll do it, and then when it's done, I'll just go back.
Okay, are you gonna stand here?
The green. Wait, that's not a design. I don't know.
Where's everyone going? Do you know?
To get the pizza. You can just start if you want. Yeah, you can just start.
Hello. Ooh.
So, because if you play this, you won't see that, so I'll play this one first.
Where is the camera?
Is it the lecture? We'll see that first, and
No,
then
we're
I'll take it out,
recording.
and we'll just have the other stuff on board. It's just because all the videos.
Wait, the green square is something. Oh.
Made a little countdown thing. It's very cute.
Oh.
Okay. And so this.
So, hi everyone. You might have seen me around on campus or in Abacus events, but if I still haven't said hi to you, my name is Yasmin, and I'm a second-year student studying civil engineering. And I'm running for. Wait, the door's not closed. Is it fine?
That's okay.
Okay. And I'm running for your publicity officer this year. I really want to be a part of the Abacus committee because back in year 1, I was stuck home in Hong Kong and I couldn't really socialize due to COVID and other stuff. But as soon as I got to London last year, I went to 1010 where I met a lot of my current friends there. So I'm really grateful of being a member of Abacus. It has brought me so much fun and friendships. And next year, I want to be the one who brings this kind of energy to the rest of the members or even more people. So here are a few things that I will do if I'm elected to be your publicity officer. First, I will design visually exciting and appealing posters for all the events. And here on the screen, these are some posters I made for different events, such as Chinese New Year dinner, badminton tournament, and a little countdown that was shown before for Christmas dinner. So for the countdown and the freshers welcome posters, I animated them. So when they're on our members' Instagram feed, the visual will be more vivid and flamboyant. And second, I will also design the email layout so it's easier to read and follow. On the screen, this is an example email banner I've made. I think it's very important to for our emails to stand out because we receive tons of email every single day. And then once our members see a colorful email from Abacus, they can feel like they can have a break from their heavy workload and be more engaged in our events. Third, I'll also be running the Abacus Instagram page where I will regularly post Instagram stories to keep our members have easy access to the latest information and sign-up sheets. And I also build easy communication between the members and the society. If I get any questions on Instagram or on any other platforms, I'll reply super fast to ensure all the members can get a response they want as soon as possible. And lastly, I can also create a website that has all the information on it, including the past event photos, the descriptions, and I'll put a link in the website on our Instagram bio so that you can go to the website very easily. I believe I'm the ideal publicity officer because I have an art background, which has trained me to be competent in using tools such as Procreate, Photoshop, Canva, and etc. I'm also very experienced with planning Instagram posts. In the past, I led the fundraising section of a global issue network club. I've organized many events, fundraisers such as bake sales and bids. Therefore, I'm very familiar with hosting events and designing posters. I also liaise with the other executives, which will train my communication skills. I was also the president of my school photography club, where I learned how to work with the cameras and professional photography skills. Additionally, I was also part of school prom committee and fashion show, where I took part in various design projects. So please vote for Yasmin, and I'm sure you'll get a full year subscription of quality content and fun engagement. Thank you for listening.
Okay, so you said you wanted to redesign the email format.
Yeah.
What kind of ideas do you have in mind?
So basically, we'll still have the banner at the top of the email, and then we can, for like sign-up links, we can make it more bold, and we can create a little box that has better visual on it. And so in general, just create more colors and use different fonts and make the flow in general better.
So sending the emails is the role of the secretary, but I think that's quite a good idea to redesign the format.
Okay,
you can work with the secretary for that.
Yeah.
Do you know anything, what do you think you would have to include in an Instagram post about an Abacus event?
I feel like in general, we have 3 different kinds of posts. One is event advocacy, and one is post-event. We have the photos from the events, and also some posts about some Chinese New Year festivals or other posts like freshers posts. These are the big 3 categories for our event posts. Obviously, we're gonna have the title, we have the location, the price. And for the photos from the events, we'll just include as many as possible, and we can tag our members maybe on the post. And then for the other general posts, such as like welcome freshers, we can just have a big title and make everyone feel they're welcome to join the society.
Okay, so for a post about an event, you'd need to include the location as well.
Yeah.
The imperial logo.
The logo, right.
So what do you think if you were making, do you know about the membership card design for next year?
I read online, because last year when I joined Abacus, it says we're gonna have a membership card, but I don't think I've ever gotten it. So next year it might be a thing.
we might do it digitally, or we have a actual card. We can have it printed out so like people can carry it around as like an ID card or something.
Yeah, basically, everyone's supposed to have a membership card, but I don't think we had enough to give out this year. But basically, the POs from all the Abacus unis all have to have some sort of competition, and each PO tries to do a different card design, and the best one is the one that gets picked for all of Abacus.
Okay, so it's the same card for all the unis. Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what would go on it?
So obviously the Abacus logo, I'll design one for all the unis, try to engage everyone. And I think the most important part is the logo, as attractive as possible, and we can personalize name on the card as well.
Yeah. So the membership card is meant to be Zodiac themed. I see you put the rabbit for next year, which is actually quite smart because it is the.
Oh, each year different. It's different. Okay.
So next year's would be rabbit themed. Could I ask you to critique your designs up there?
Honestly, I think I've done a pretty good job on the designs. You can see there's a color coordination. I have yellow in all the designs. So I think it goes really well all together, even if the theme color is different. But if I have to say, I say badminton tournament, it could be more creative because it can be, since it's a sports event, it can be like, I guess it can be more, I can animate it.
Yeah, I mean, the design is great. The design is fine itself. I think it's fine. So the main thing is that you want to get the details through clearer. So if, for example, Chinese New Year dinner, your design, it's not actually just like a pretty photo. You try to remind people, like create a memorable image to remind people about the details of the event. So that might be something that you might want to look out for. So on the badminton one, that's fine. A bit more design could be okay, but yeah, things like details and the event details can be done slightly clearer, I think. That's it.
That's quite good.
Thank you.
What are all the universities in the Abacus?
Imperial, LSE, UCL, KCL, Queen Mary, Burnell, Goldsmith, and
There's one more.
SOAS.
Yeah, you got it. No, it's still 1 more minute.
I have one more question. Besides 1010 ticket, because that was done by ministry.
Yeah.
What's your most favorite and least favorite ticket design?
Ticket design. I like the boat party one the best. Yeah, because it looks very fancy and it actually matches the theme. The least favorite. You mean the events for all the unis or just Imperial?
All unis.
All unis. Does Halloween count?
Oh no, because that was PK.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, you can say Halloween because UCL designed that, so it's okay.
Maybe Halloween then, yeah.
It was UCL, right? Oh yeah.
That's 10 minutes. What was your question?
If there's is there anything for you want to critique about how everything's been done this year in terms of like graphics?
I'm currently and me, basically.
I mean, Jody has done a great job.
I
But
love her.
if I were to run it, I would put border for all the posts, so like it doesn't. You mean I mean on the edges of each post, it doesn't look that abrupt.
Do you have any ideas for next year? Like anything?
I want to do in uni or in my life.
Sorry?
Wait, what do you mean?
Is there anything new you want to do?
Oh, new I want to
as
do.
PO next year?
I would make a website, so it's easier to guide through everything. I mean, we love websites. We're all STEM students here. So I think I could put some photos on events, so it's easier and clear to see a list of events that's chronological. And we can also get tickets on the website, I guess.
Say that you're second year.
Yes.
I think most people running are like freshers. How do you think you'll like integrate with the rest of them?
I mean, I love to make new friends, and also have a lot of friends from first year, and we're obviously gonna have a lot of meetings, committee meetings, but at our casual time we can like hang out, and we're gonna text a lot on the group chat, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Pizza time. We can go grab our pizzas and we'll probably resume in like 20 minutes.
Pizza.
Yeah.
But that's what she's second year. I would guess. We got all the unis. It's a bit rude.
I think I know this.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the poster? Wait, what?
Why didn't you get me a mojito?
The one about the I forgot what it was.
Brian, what's the order for president? What's the order for president? She feels really sick. The order of the president, like what are now? Oh. Yeah. No, I think she's pretending. If she's like last, then she'll go outside for a bit. She's like last.
Before that, the CS:GO one, like one of my friend was playing.
Wait, are you?
He got shat on in one of the maps. I can't infer that. He got shat on like they got one round.
Where is it?
And they lost the whole game. I'm just gonna save myself.
Will it be real? Fuck, I need to run roll.
I should.
Yeah, we could have. How many pizzas did you order? Huh? Ask me later. Ask me again later. Is that my teeth? Are those my sweatpants? I was gonna go to the gym at 8. Oh yeah.
I woke up at 2. I had a meeting, and then I
Go in for placement. Where's yours? So far. Oh my.
Wait, what's your
Wait, was your penis puncture on a ducky? I took blood from two people today. It was so good. Like it was like so smooth enough. I'm on AMU, acute meds, and then the nurse was just like, "Oh, we have." They were just complaining about having so many like blood due, and then we just asked the consultant if he could help, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, no, we asked the consultant. We were like, and he was like, No, today's the first time I actually felt like
I think they use like many users, so there's like
yeah. But I couldn't see any. Like that. So you.
It's like hot, and then like.
Oh, you're out of court. No, because the last time I talked to you, you were like, I'm not But I swear you don't have to It's like recording. Where's the camera? I don't know. Apparently, he says he was going to be there, but I don't know. Probably was.
How was Asian though?
Oh, look at you have a taste on your hand.
You remember? Wait.
You can't be screaming.
I was like, I'm not drunk enough. I went to the bar by myself.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself, I'm not drunk enough.
That was sad.
Yeah, no, it's quite sad. It is quite sad. That's just like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna be alone.
Are you feeling better?
He was so drunk. He would just like scream something, and then go run away again. And then you came and you like pulled my hair. You're like,
I was fuming. I was actually fuming. Basically, we had an invitation. I was like, fuck that, I'm not going. Are you guys going? And the thing was, probably the nurse wouldn't even call. They're just
I'm not.
no one likes it. I was just like, okay. So I was just like in Karen Cross, my fucking like my like ID, and I was just like, okay, like what do I do? Why don't you
It's out, but I was like,
Okay, Christy, are you?
Imagine if you were coming in Charing Cross. You come
Hello, guys. We're gonna get started again. You guys can still eat pizza, but POs, if you guys could go out again. Sherry.
Cassie, you make fun of yourself. No, you like. How can I not make fun of you? You mentioned gym like.
I just did it.
Oh, really? Just accept the fact.
You can do it.
I did not mention it a single time before that. You did? Yeah, that's how I thought. The lazy fuck. Yeah, lazy fuck.
Can you go on Sunday?
I'm going on Sunday. Luca might go on Monday.
I'm gonna go in the morning.
In the morning. It's not kind of morning in like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I don't have one, so it's too bad.
And I've been like playing like night sweats.
How are you doing?
Good night. Are you gonna hurry over here?
Want to, but I'm super tired.
Grandma comes like birthday. But
I don't know why I woke up so tired. I woke up like 2 p.m. as well. But the thing is, I went to sleep at 6. I was trying to do work because like my productivity was really low. Yeah, I told myself I'm not sleeping until I finish these 2 lectures. So I didn't sleep until I finished the lectures. Which is kind of stupid.
Why don't we just sit here and eat?
oh, I'll do that.
Hello? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we're still streaming. Okay. Here you go.
Hey guys! Hi, I'm Sherry. I'm a
Oh. Okay, go.
Hi guys, I'm Sherry. I'm a second year medic, and I've joined Abacus since first year, and I'm running for publicity. It's dinner. And I guess the same as everyone else for publicity. I just want to promote Abacus a bit more, since I feel like this year Abacus has become a much bigger community at Imperial especially, and because of having COVID the year before, we didn't have that much like inter-uni experiences or any like internal Imperial Abacus events. So I'd just like to continue that legacy from this year and bring in more inter-uni experiences for everyone and incorporate a bit more like non-clubbing events sometimes, especially since considering this year there's also quite short on tickets sometimes, because I know a lot of people were trying to sign up for a lot of events, but they couldn't get a ticket, so they haven't had a lot of exposures to Abacus events. So hopefully that would be something we could try to work on
next year. And this is the poster well, it's not a poster. This is the Instagram post I made. This is like the first page and you're supposed to like swipe to the next. And that was supposed to be 2 pages, but our lovely president merged them for me. Thanks, Luca. But no, it was supposed to be like 2 pages and then like you swipe and then you go to the next one and then you swipe and you go to the next one. It made sense. It would have made sense. But yeah, this is just like a more generic Chinese New Year dinner posts. And I wrote the 新年快乐because, yeah. Okay. Any questions?
So what do you think, if you were making an Instagram post for the next Abacus event, what would you put on it?
As in just
like what has
literally
to go,
the next one? Or
just like for an event, like what has to go on the post?
Oh, so for the Instagram post, obviously something eye-catching and the details for all the events, like the location, the time, the price, and any specific details regarding the event, and the Abacus logo, which I was doing it on my phone, so I couldn't incorporate it to this one. But yeah.
So what else does the role of a PO include besides designing the Instagram posters and stuff?
Great question, Jody. So other than managing social media, I guess, there's also the aspect of communicating with different publicity offices across all the all the university, like Abacus universities. Because there are, other than internal events, we also have external events where you have to coordinate everything with different unis and negotiate like who makes the posters or like the event tickets and everything. Yeah.
What do you have to do at internal events?
Internal events. So there's the social media aspect of documenting the night and just promoting and recording the night and making sure everyone's having a good time. And I'm assuming the next part of the question is external event.
No, because you don't have to do anything at external.
Nice. Okay, good to know. Mm-hmm. But that's not really part of it. So like how would you go? So I had this idea, like in my manifesto, I think I mentioned it as well. I was thinking of maybe through social media like Instagram or like Facebook and any platform, we could potentially start this platform similar to like every year there's like an Imperial Freshers 2022 where everyone can kind of like have a post about themselves, where it's more like a platform where members of the society can kind of find other people with like similar interests or like have like hobbies and anything, and they could potentially organize any events or like any gatherings they want with people within the society, similar to that. And that could potentially be in a form of just like maybe on an interactive one on like Instagram stories where like you can vote and then we can share like the vote results, or we can even start a new like Instagram page where it's just similar to like the freshers page where you can post about yourselves. And I guess it'd be less intimidating to a certain extent than like a WhatsApp group, because it could be kind of scary, especially if you're a fresher, to reach out to other people like through WhatsApp, because you're just like, who's this random number messaging me? But I feel like through Instagram it'd be more interactive. I rate the suits. Yeah.
Luca, what are you wearing?
Luca, you're wearing my shirt.
What are you wearing?
Shut up. Yeah, so I'm wearing this orange top which I think it's the only like more colorful top that I had. So I think it like shows I'm a very vibrant person and I'm very lively, which is absolutely needed for publicity. And it's also very functional because I'm gonna go to another event after and it works for both. And also I'm wearing these jeans, which I was wearing to placement today and I didn't want to do laundry, so yeah. Any other questions?
What are the universities in Abacus?
The universities in Abacus. So there's Imperial. Should I rank them?
No.
No. So there's Imperial, UCL, Queen Mary, LSE, SOAS, Kings. Yeah. Westminster? No. Irrelevant.
It's Brunel and Goldsmiths.
I don't know where they are.
Yeah. Oh, how are you going to balance the role of a PO with third-year medicine?
So for third year medicine, we have quite a few like long 8-week placements, and that's definitely going to be one of, I guess, a struggle to balance. But also I was thinking, because the 8-week placements, they are placements, and it's not like they're going to be every day till very late. Well, and I think being a PO and balancing it with placement and university work, it's more like a balance of life because you need work and pleasure would be my side as a publicity officer at Abacus. So yeah. Yes. This amazing poster, you mean? So originally, this is 2 slides. This is supposed to be 3 slides, but our lovely current president helped me merge them. No, you're supposed to like, so basically it was supposed to like split in half, but it's kind of like a continuous thing. So you swipe from this page to this page and then you swipe to the next, but you can still kind of see like this bit. But in terms of what I would change, I'll definitely add the logo, but I didn't have access to like the cropped out logo. And also maybe make the fonts a bit bigger. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I was thinking in an Instagram post, it would also be the caption bit, and I would highlight them again in the caption. For sure. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Questions at the back? No?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jasmine. Is Jasmine here? Not here. She got a video.
Is she?
So we just get.
I'm telling her to go. Are you not?
Is she going? I'll go if she goes.
You guys are going then.
She asked if Jodie and
Okay.
Sherry's not.
Carrie.
She's not
No.
going. I don't know. Going if she, wait, I
Jodie
should
will
go.
go if you go.
No, just tell me if she. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Oh.
Delete that.
No.
Just tell me if she's going.
online.
Like independent of if
She
I'm.
just read it. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you know?
Yeah.
No, but I might not go.
I already know my motive was when I listed. Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a membership.
My outfit question was very
Bye, Sherry. Have fun.
I I didn't know it was formal.
Wait, where are you going?
No, it says it's formal for. It says it's formal for.
What is it, Metro?
It's not formal for us. We don't have. We can wear whatever the fuck you want.
Wait, is it just you and Lev? Who else is going to Metro? I want to go.
It's on.
Yeah, no. Is Fran going?
Okay, so 大家们好，我的名字是马林文，我13岁，我喜欢 abacus. I will not be reading the whole thing in Chinese, but I want to give it a try. So hi everyone, my name is Elsa Ma. I'm a first year computing student. Some facts about me: I'm 6 foot tall, I have size 6 feet, my blood type is O positive, and my social security number is 256, and you'll hear the rest if you vote for me. So let me start off with talking about how much I love abacus and why I would be your perfect publicity officer. I'm sure for some of you, you might have felt like there was some sort of lack of community, never really fitting in where you grew up and not being able to relate to others like yourself. That certainly was what I felt until I came here and joined Abacus. When my older brother told me about Abacus 4 years ago, I instantly fell in love with this society, and I knew that it would be the first stall I would visit in Freshers Fair, where I was greeted by Luca's friendly face. Joining Abacus was one of the best decisions I've made since starting Imperial in October. I want to promote Abacus in the same vein as Jodie has done this year, a positive, inclusive and welcoming society. Undeniably and incomparably the best society I'm part of. As for why I would be the perfect publicity officer, I have experience in making graphics as president of Mathematics Society in my sixth form. I'm competent in using software such as Procreate, as this role involved running the Society's Instagram and creating graphics with a similar purpose as for what Abacus Publicity Officer would do. I was also involved in playing a secretarial part for Mathematics Society, so I'm aware of what is visually pleasing, how to advertise on both emails and social media platforms like Instagram, and how to communicate with the secretary to produce emails to the highest quality. Shown are some examples of the graphics I would use, and I'd like to experiment with this even more. I see this as an opportunity to broaden my horizons, as throughout my life I've always had an enthusiasm for creativity, especially design, and this would be the perfect opportunity to build my skills in this area. I also have some new ideas on how to promote Abacus. As a computing student, I'd love to integrate my passion for programming with the role of being publicity officer. I propose creating a dedicated space where members can express their opinions on past events, give feedback, and express their own ideas and vote on future events in a form of an Abacus website. I believe this will get more people involved in terms of being more inviting to new members, as we can give freshers a tangible place to visit to show what we do in Abacus. For current members, I think this will increase popularity of events, as members will be able to vote on the events they want to attend next and feedback on things they didn't like as much. I'd like to get more people involved in Abacus Instagram and encourage people to send in pictures from events to get featured here. And I think some competitions on the Instagram stories would be fun, for example, one at Chinese New Year on Chinese culture. Thank you very much for your time and listening to my speech.
What has to go, if you were making the next Instagram post for the next Abacus event, what would you put on it?
So, for example, like the one, if we were to do a Dragon Boat Festival, I know that won't actually happen because it's in like July. But I would say bright colors and make the bold, make like bold fonts and something like eye-catching, but not too busy, so people know what the idea of the event is and what the purpose of the event is. So, yeah.
What information has to go?
So obviously the title, what we're doing, the time, the date, where it is, the price for members and non-members, and so, yeah.
Well, yeah, and you have the Imperial Abacus logo, which is really good. Besides making the Instagram posts and making the banners and stuff, what else does a PO have to do?
So the PO has to also make the tickets for like the clubbing events, and also when there's external events, they need to
communicate with the other publicity officers to decide on the event graphics for that as well. And also with the secretary, so they know what's going into the email. Oh, yes, yeah. Oh, okay. Right, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And it's zodiac themed. What's
Okay.
the zodiac animal for next year?
Like the Chinese zodiac?
Yeah.
It is it's definitely rabbit. Definitely rabbit.
Yeah. Oh, what are the abacus universities?
So there's UCL, ACL, SOAS, QM, Kings, is that it? Oh, Imperial, but yeah. LSE.
There's two more.
Two more, okay.
One more. There's one more.
One more. I'm trying to think of what other university.
No, I thought
I think there's two more.
there's two more. There's two more.
I'm trying to think of what universities are in London. Greenwich? UAL. No.
Oh, it's Goldsmiths and Brunel. I don't know if you.
Okay.
How are you going to balance second year computing with Abacus PO?
So Abacus, unfortunately, I do not attend other societies, but it's probably good for if I were to be on committee for Abacus. I definitely think I would enjoy the work, I guess, because like creating stuff like this is something I genuinely enjoy, and to me it wouldn't really be work, even though I would have like deadlines obviously for it. So I don't think it would be a problem, and I would definitely put all my effort into this as well as my course, obviously. But, yeah. So I think the Dragon Boat Festival one, I feel like I could have made the font more stand out, because right now it's like it kind of blends in with the background a bit. Same with the top right freshers icebreaker. I could have made the font on that a bit more vibrant and stand out. But, yeah.
Let's say you make a design, something that you think is quite nice.
Yeah.
And then you give it to your committee and you just say, this is the design for whatever event's coming up, but they don't really like it and they have quite a negative reaction. Well, we got mean to you because they're nice people. We don't really like it, blah, blah, blah. How would you handle the situation? Especially if like the deadline's like right there.
So I would obviously like take on board what they would say, and I would definitely change it, because I feel like I would want to do what's best for the society, not just for myself, obviously. So I would definitely take on board what they would do, and even if the deadline was soon, I would definitely work to get that done as well.
What would you improve about our current like social media presence and graphics and stuff?
So I feel like Jodie's done a really good year with the Instagram, and I can't lie, I did take a lot of inspiration, like especially for the Dragon Boat Festival one, from Jodie's Chinese New Year dinner one. I would say probably get more of the freshers to send in their own pictures as well, because it's quite nice like going onto Instagram and like seeing you on the Abacus Instagram. And like I was saying before, we could do like Instagram stories and like do competitions on them, especially at the beginning when maybe freshers like don't know what is Abacus and stuff like that. Just get them more involved. Yeah.
What's been your favorite and least favorite ticket designs so far? And not including 10 cent. Like ones that were designed by like
What's my favorite and least favorite one? Like the physical tickets. I liked the Asian Glow one. That was really nice. I thought, yeah, because it was like really vibrant and like visually pleasing. Can't think of my least favorite one. But yeah, Asian Glow was definitely my favorite one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're gonna do the whole thing in Chinese. I thought my language setting is wrong. My language setting is arbitrary. Dude, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. Like, really have to just go through that. We'll ask you questions.
Wait, can I just go? So I couldn't think of a better way to express my my appreciation for Abacus than like a rap. So I wrote this little song. Yeah, I wrote this rap for Abacus. Best society imperial. I'm not taking the piss. A loving community, different Abacus hits. At the events, we always looking dapper with the fits. We're the most accepting community. When you come hang out with us, it's not just people who look like me. Abacus, there for you like a second family. Friendship so close, like the roots of a tree. So much variety in everything we do. Wholesome events like exercise with the crew. Biju vouchers, but lactose makes me go to the loo. We out here connecting in ways we never knew. Found some friends to run it in ethos, including one who speaks Spanish. Uno, dos. I hope you vote for me for PO. I'll make Insta posts. And taking pictures at events is what I like. Oh, what the fuck? Is what I. How do you turn this on? Don't press the button. Hello? Is what I like the most. I'll always be there if you want to duo Q. Run it up on the rift and smoke these fools.
Just a quick question. Are you rapping because you passed out at karaoke and didn't get a chance to do it then?
No. If I like missed that opportunity, I would have just like sang. But like I don't know. That was unfortunate for me. But oh, do I have to talk about these?
Oh, okay. Okay, so what information do you have to include in an Instagram post about an event?
So I think it would be important to have the time, the date, the price for members and non-members, and then I guess general details about the event and like the event name. And I think on all the posts I see like the logos of the universities if it's like a, I guess like external event.
Can you talk me through your outfit choice today?
Like, what? I mean, I heard formal, so I decided that I was really gonna just wear a suit, with a button-down shirt and some like shoes that are like leather. Like I know I usually like to rock up in shorts and sandals because I like to keep it relaxed and chill. I thought it was like it's such an important day. I wanted to show my dedication to Abacus by putting on pants and shoes.
Besides designing the posts for Instagram, what else does a PO do?
I think one of the responsibilities of PO is taking photos at internals, and I think I can do that. And I guess communicating with POs of other unis, figuring out the designs for the tickets, and wait, was it besides doing these? I kind of
Besides.
yeah. And I think designing the yearly like abacus cards, no, the membership ones. Yeah.
Do you know what the theme is for next year's Abacus membership card?
No.
Cancelled. It's the zodiac animal for the next Chinese New Year. Do you know what that is?
Take a guess.
Because
There's only 12, so.
Okay, so.
And it's not this year.
Right now I'm 18. Next year I'm turning 19. It's not gonna be mine. Rat, horse. I'm gonna go with ox.
No. Try again.
Second try. Snake.
No.
Huh? 兔子. Rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, so next year's card is rabbit themed. What are you going to do if you get into a disagreement with another PO about like the ticket design?
Like, and I know I'm correct and I know they're wrong. Or.
No, if you,
Okay, I mean.
if they had a suggestion different to what you wanted in.
I guess I'll try to sway them to my point of view, you know? No, I'd offer like reasons, you know, why I think why I think I'm correct, and I listen to why they think they're correct. And maybe they could change my mind, or maybe I could change their mind, or could come to a compromise, you know?
Actually, so I'm just gonna. Howard, you can ask your question.
Oh, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah,
This is XCOM president. So he's here to support all the youth life. He's secretary and president. He's gonna grill you guys. So just be ready, okay?
maybe mute when I ask questions because there might be feedback.
We're not muted now. It's actually okay. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
so unlike the committee, I actually like your outfit.
Wait, you guys don't.
This is Cassius just trying to flame you.
Yeah. Anyway, so you're gonna carry me on the rift, right?
Wait, what's the question?
Do you say you're gonna carry us on the rift, Summer's Rift?
Yeah.
What rank are you?
All right, so last year I was diamond in TFT on the NA server, right?
That's TFT though. Continue.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm silver 4 here in AUS. I will train. I put more hours into League than on my course. I'm going up. I'm gaining at least like 20 LP a day. I'll be in gold.
Okay, anyway, so you said you were gonna take photos, right? So what camera would you use?
Should I just go grab it?
Grab it. Ooh, props. Take a photo of us.
I brought like a little prop. This is my camera, so yeah. It's a EOS RP. I don't know if anyone, but like basically you point it at people.
Okay, question though. So,
yeah.
In terms of lenses, right? Would there be a difference between a lens that you use for, say, a clubbing event or like a dinner, like for just a simple, yeah?
So, I think clubbing events, the lighting is like, it's kind of, it's a lot worse, right? Because it's like darker. So I'd probably use like a faster lens, like a prime lens or something, so that it could like collect more light, and then I don't have to like have like the ISO set to like 10 billion or something. And then for like a dinner, right? It's I think in the restaurant it would be like a little nicer. I could probably use like a zoom lens or like yeah something that doesn't need to like gather as much light. But I think like the emphasis is also like a lot on like taking pictures of people's faces. So I'd use something that can go down to like a like wide open f-stop, so to get the nice like background blur. Sorry for nerding out.
Damn. Okay. Looking forward to you carrying my iron ass on lead. So all right, thanks.
What are your? Do you have any new ideas as if for PO for next year?
Thinking we could post some like more Instagram stories or get more like content at the like other like smaller events because I know there wasn't a lot of exposure at like a lot of sports tech events like when we were going to like rock climbing we just like went and then nothing it was just like a post it was like oh you could like come to rock climbing and then we went and then we didn't like post like a picture of all of us at rock climbing. Yeah, we wait. Did you post that?
Can you like critique your own designs?
Okay. I think I heard that this purple and orange color combination is like kind of I think it was described as jarring.
I was about to say it was.
The dice are like very like sharp in this one, but like everything else is like soft, so it kind of like doesn't go with everything else. This one has a lot of empty space. I actually thought not gonna do this because this one's kind of ugly. It has like a lot of empty space, and then I feel like the whole border on this could be like a little better, and like if you look right here, there's like a little gap in between the border and the white background. Where you can see, so it's not like that good. Which one do you like the best? Which one do you want to follow? I really like the Valentine's special one. It like warms my heart.
Okay. The text is really small on the Asian glow one.
Oh yeah, the yellow text. Yeah.
And on the Valentine's Day one.
Oh yeah.
What's your bird?
Like 24. Yeah, in inches. So I don't know what that is. Okay, it's 24 in freedom units.
Okay, guys. The next. You want to do it?
Yeah, so the next, this is our last PO. She's not in London currently, so she can't come and present it, but she made a video that she'd like us to play instead. It's like a mock AGM, so her questions are probably nicer than what we would give her, but yeah, we'll play it right now. These are her designs, by the way. I like the Asian glow one.
Yeah, I like. Oh, she recorded. Oh. Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, these are her designs again. I'll have them on a little bit longer just because people didn't get to see it as long as the other PO's ones. Yeah, take it in. Okay. Okay, next we got secretary. We've only got one person running, and it's Yaya. So no one needs to go out anymore. Oh, someone's coming.
It's always on. Hi, I'm Yaya, and I'm a first-year bio student. I remember first week of uni, a friend on my course told me about Abacus, and it turned out to be a great decision that I joined because a lot of my friends that I've made have been from Abacus events, and most of my money has gone to our ABBA family dinners and all the clubbing events. I decided to run for committee because I felt so welcomed by this year's committee, and I also wanted to be part of the team that were behind all the events that I enjoyed so much. And I chose secretary out of all the roles that are available because I have experience from being head girl in my college, where I would chair weekly meetings with student reps and teaching staff, and I would also send them out as weekly newsletters. So I thought I could use that experience. And I know that being secretary is going to be a really busy role, but I find that when I pack my schedule, I tend to work better. I like to be a bit under stress. So, and I know that as well as the minutes and newsletters, there's other jobs sort of communicating with other committee members and sort of helping them if they need it. And I've also realized that, Rihanna, you text the group chat with all the information in the relevant times. So I would make sure that when I'm doing those texts, the group chats, that all the important information is clear to read. And I'm quite fast at replying to text, so I think I would be quite good at communicating and being sort of, checking people and if they're getting on with their work, I guess. I think I'm quite approachable and friendly, so if anyone part of Abacus wants to ask questions or make suggestions, I think it'll be quite easy to talk to me. And I know this year there was still COVID restrictions, but next year there'll obviously be less limitations with that. So I would maybe like to have new events. What I have in mind is doing stuff with other Asian societies, because I know there's quite a big overlap with the members of the different Asian societies, and there was the bubble tea thing with the I think Taiwan sock. So it will be nice to see more collaborations with other Asian societies. Yeah, and that's it.
Thank you for your speech. I'm just going to follow up with some questions. So you mentioned besides writing newsletters and texting group chats, what other jobs do you think you have to carry out as secretary?
I think because there's the weekly walls, which can be part of my schedule, but then obviously there's going to be a lot of work to do when there's events that Imperial hosting, external events especially. So I think it's really important to give all the help I can give to other members. But also, today there was the PO candidate who said changing the email format, and obviously in that sort of instance, I would need to get involved because it's part of my job. So just working with other people, because I think it's just an all-rounder job being a secretary. So
What else? What do you need to include in a newsletter? Can you describe the general format or how you would do it?
Yeah, so I think obviously I would check which upcoming events. So probably stuff that's coming up in the next 1 or 2 weeks, like bringing the closest event at the top so that people look at that first. Obviously having the membership application at like somewhere so that when people want to apply to be a member. And I think it would be great to announce like photos being released as well, and the newsletters is like another way of like accessing those. And yeah.
I think the photo, like mentioning that, is a really good idea. Do you have any other ideas how to make the newsletter more interactive for readers?
I guess maybe, yeah, I think one of the PE officers said, but like making like links really clear, so like it's more like interactive. Also, I think like the headline, like what you put in the title is quite important. So like making sure that what people want like information on is like in the title, so that when like the email like pings up on your phone, that people know like what's in the email right away. And then yeah. It's like more color maybe, like to make it fun, but yeah, that's about it.
Could you tell us what communication platforms we have in Abacus?
So I know there's like the newsletter, obviously, and the WhatsApp group and Instagram. I don't have Facebook, so I haven't been able to like check out it, but I know it exists, and like I know I should probably start doing Facebook. But yeah, I think that's all I know. Yeah.
Could you critique or give any feedback on how the current secretary has done this year?
That's quite hard. I know how hard the job is, but I guess like I don't know if it's like already done, but what I found useful when I had to send like whole year like emails to like entire like schools or years, to like send them to other people first, like a smaller group chat, maybe to the committee, to see if there's like any typos, and you can get feedback from like a smaller group before you send it out to a larger group. But yeah,
that's a good idea. In previous years, people were able to sign up to events as soon as the newsletters were out, as opposed to this year where sign-up forms would open the next day. What are the pros and cons of each, and which would you prefer to do next year?
The pros of the email one would be that people wouldn't forget, I guess. So like when it comes up, you're not sort of, but then it depends on what sort of person you're. Obviously, if you don't, like people don't check their like emails that often. So kind of having like a reminder of a set time, I think, is better, because then like if you want to be guaranteed a ticket, you can like set a timer and it's up to you and your organization. Whereas I think the email is quite dependent, like when you check your emails. So I definitely would say like this year's format was better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've got a new one. It's here now. Mhm. 0. Oh. Huh? Oh my god. Yeah. They go straight to trash. The unimportant stuff goes straight to trash.
I just have one more question for you. What is your favorite ABBA memory?
I think like when the big events, I think 1010 was like the funnest like clubbing one, because it was obviously the first one, so it was when I met the most people and like got to know what like Abacus was. But like the ABBA family like dinners that we've had were really fun. So I've obviously Luca's family and B's family, and like those were really fun because it's like close knit and you actually have like a conversation, and yeah, that was really fun. No. How do I do that? Okay, Howard.
She never says to respond.
Howard's got a question.
Oh yeah. So What do you think are the main differences between the secretary and the PO? Don't the two just communicate information to members? So why do you think we need a secretary?
Wait, the PO or the
Between secretary and PO, like what?
Okay. I think obviously the PO, like, they're in charge of like conveying information, but theirs is like mainly visual. Whereas I think with the secretary, it's a lot of like verbal, like information and like text, but also, it's kind of communicating behind the scenes. So yeah, like the publicity officer, what they do is kind of output to everyone in like all the members of Abacus. But I think the secretary is kind of like the one who, like not unites, but like conveys all the information across like the members of the comms. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, no, I lied. Sorry. We have one more question.
Okay.
You said you were head girl at your previous school. What transferable skills do you think you've gained from this?
So I think I got like very good at like public speaking. So I used to be like very shy and I would not be able to speak in front of people like this. But like just doing that for a year just made me like, be able to be like confident enough to like talk in front of people. But also sort of having like weekly duties. I think I can kind of make something like part of my weekly schedule and like not get like stressed from it and stuff like that. But yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions, or we're going to move on? Okay, thank you so much for your speech, Yaya.
Okay, she's our only secretary, so we're going on to treasurer, Lee, and he's our only treasurer as well. He's also my kid. You got this.
Hello? Nice, it works.
That includes catering. Exactly. I think it was like 18,500.
Seems zero in there.
It might have been a different one.
Well, if I mess up like the actual costs,
Don't
I'll have fun. All the interviews have to you to kill. Yeah, exactly. I won't do that.
you don't throw me too hard.
Hey guys, we're gonna get started with.
We're not on the same program. Yeah. But I'm doing spending.
Hi, I'm Lee, and I'm a current first-year computing student. As a British-born Chinese student, I initially found it hard to fit in with the other cultural bubbles. However, at Abacus, everyone was immediately inclusive and welcoming. And through Abacus, I've met and befriended so many incredible people. I'm really grateful to everyone for all the memories that I've made, and it's because of this that I feel obliged to give back to this amazing society, which is why I'm running for treasurer. As treasurer, I intend to expand on what previous treasurers have done and help organize even more exciting events. I have 3 ideas in mind that I would like to implement on top of my usual roles. Firstly, I would like to discuss with the other London abacuses about digitalizing clubbing event tickets. I've always felt that physical tickets are quite the hassle to print out and distribute. By having digital tickets, the committee no longer need to sit in front of Starbucks 2 days a week, and we would minimize printing costs, and our abacus members would also not have to worry about losing their ticket. My second idea is to do with automating transactions within abacus. What if instead of transferring money to the treasurer, making the treasurer track whether someone has paid or not on a spreadsheet, we could automate all this by having some standardized software process transactions and then have a digital confirmation of their place at the event emailed to the respective user. I believe that this would make ticket transactions a lot more efficient and enhance the experience of all abacus members. And as a computing student, this is something I'm happy to look into for a fun side project. Finally, I wanted to focus on making IC Abacus feel more homely and interconnected. And what better way to do that than introduce an Abacus social credit system? Okay, misbehaving Abacus members will have their social credit docked and face higher event prices than outstanding Abacus members who will receive discounts on their tickets. Okay, let's scrap that idea. Jokes aside, what I actually wanted to say is that I'm a huge advocate of the ABBA family scheme, which was hugely successful in bringing us together as a society. However, next year, I want to see more ABBA families more integrated together with each other, rather than as separate groups, unless you're John and you're in every Abacus family. An idea I have in mind is inter-ABBA family events, which will inspire rivalries among families. I'm bumping into a lot of people who enjoy esports. I think that holding inter-ABBA family esport events would be a good idea. But I'm always very happy to gather more opinions for possible event ideas and suggestions for the society while maintaining our budget. And having seen how kind and approachable the current committee have been this year, I wish to continue in their footsteps by being the same kindly treasurer who buys you drinks at the club and takes their kids out to dinner. I'll be looking forward to working with you and ensuring that next year runs smoothly. Thank you.
Okay, hi Lee. That was very nice. Can you tell me what is the main role of the treasurer in Abacus?
So every event that we organize, I have to pay for everything. I have to keep track of all the transactions we make and notify the president on our current financial situation. And also, I have to talk with the other London unis about their payments and my payments to them for the inter-uni events. And most importantly, if we have like dinner events for Chinese restaurants, I have to take the cash out because a lot of those restaurants are cash only. And yeah.
Okay, so just following on from that, do you think it's more important to generate revenue for the society? And if not, why?
I think revenue is very important in order to provide the subsidized prices to Abacus members. I think one of the most important factors that what drives people to go to Abacus events are the lower prices compared to retail prices. And I think that aiming for like revenue is really important. Making sure that we don't lose money and that we have
balance,
some sort of fail safe.
Okay, that's good. That's good. This is an important question. Who do you think has greater power over the finances, the president or the treasurer?
Well, I'd say the person who has the job of looking after the finances has the knowledge, has more knowledge, and I think that the president should respect that. But ultimately, the president does control the society and does boss me around. So if he does make the call to disagree with me, I'll accept that, but I'll make sure he doesn't.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you should be aware that you need to be advising the president on any like payment transactions that he plans to make, and obviously if it's gonna make you bankrupt, that is like utmost priority. You should not be going into that situation. So for me, obviously, I'm biased. Obviously, I'd say treasurer, but it's fine. Okay. So what do you think is most important when it comes to finance? External events or internal events? In terms of one, the money we make and how much it is to like how much it costs to like put on.
I think because the external events are much bigger, we're able to generate more revenue from these external events. I think that because we generate more revenue of external events, we can sort of make compromise with the internal events, sort of like lowering the prices of internal events for IC Abacus members compared to external.
Okay. And which events generates the most income? Do you know? You can name specific events if you have that knowledge.
Probably the larger events like 1010, where you're able to sell more tickets because it's a larger venue, and because of that, we'd probably make more money off that.
Yeah, that's correct. Ministry is one of the clubs in London that has a higher capacity, so 1010 definitely like made us a lot of money, which set up the rest of the year. That's important to keep in mind as well if you're going to run events next year. Let's see. Okay, so here's a scenario for you. What do you do when the society is low on funds and you have a super important flagship event happening soon, and you need to pay the venue within the next like day or so, but you have no funds or not adequate amount of funds? What would you do?
Take inspiration from what you guys did, and I would risk my own money, well, and the future president's money, well, we'd like collab, and hopefully earn it back for Abacus.
Okay, that's good. That's good because yeah, as a treasurer for next year, we don't know the financial situation, and if you are going to take the first event of the year, the deposits and stuff might be a bit too much for your starting balance. But yeah, we'll come to that one in the future. Just a quick fun question for you. How much is a 700 milliliter bottle of vodka at Ministry? Rough estimates is okay.
£70.
Take another guess. £70, my dude. We are in London.
I was advising sway prices, not at Ministry.
Okay, if you know sway prices, that's great as well. If you want to. How much are 3 Jaegers at Sway Bar?
12. 10.
Okay, yeah. Do you know bottle prices at Sway?
For vodka, it's like around 120 to like 150.
Okay, yeah. So the answer to my original question for vodka Ministry, which is next week's event, one bottle is £240. Plus will be service charge on top, probably.
So you were talking earlier about switching to digital tickets, which is something that I think a lot of people coming into like Abacus committee talk about. But it's actually tradition for Abacus to do physical tickets, so we have considered it before because the ticket collection is also a way for the freshers to meet existing committee and then kind of like establish some sort of contact, and then because like when we did 1010 we tried to have like a small conversation with everyone at least just so everyone gets to know us. So I think I think digital tickets are easier, but it's just something I feel like we have to do at Abacus to do physical tickets. I do like your idea for Python scripts and everything, though, to check transactions. Could you just walk me through how you go about doing that?
So you know how it's usually like an email and it says transfer to Qingli Wei, and then he has his bank details and a sort code and everything. Instead of that, we could probably have like a link, and it's kind of linking to like Elsa's idea of a website. So just click the link, and then you can enter your card details, and it'll probably be saved on there, and then just pay, and then it'll just like automatically enter onto a spreadsheet, and then yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, take me through the thought process that goes into deciding how much you're going to subsidize for an event. Some events are extremely expensive, in particular the boat party. How would you handle that situation, and how would you come around deciding how much you want to subsidize for the members?
Well, like depends on our financial situation. So if we're like running low on money, for stuff like boat prices anyway, it's already pretty expensive even if you subsidize, and I'm pretty sure it's popular enough that people would actually pay even if it was higher price. I would say only subsidize if we have the sort of freedom to do it. Otherwise, I would prioritize keeping Abacus afloat over giving Abacus members subsidized prices.
Howard?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me? Yeah, so you interact with the president and VP to budget for the clubbing events and internal events respectively. So why can't the president or VP do your job for you when they're the ones who are planning the events?
I think it's pretty hard to keep track of all the expenditure while you're trying to arrange events. I think it's easier and more efficient to specialize into one person as a treasurer, because it just makes the whole operation a lot easier and increases productivity of the society.
Okay, but if, for example, they're looking at the ticket prices and they know how many people are coming for the event, the main expenditure at a clubbing event is probably the bottle prices, which they see, like they're the first ones to see that and they can sort of estimate it. So why is the treasurer needed for that?
Good question.
Lee, here's a hint. Do you think that with such a role such as president and VP, they would have the capacity to do so when they when they are in charge of so many different things as well?
Yeah, I guess it's takes a lot off the president and VP's mind if you have someone else looking after the spending. Yeah, they just probably have like a lot of their mind since they're organizing so much stuff.
To be fair, that was a tough question. I would agree with that. There's a lot of a lot on the president's mind when they're organizing an event. They can't really think about that. So, yeah, you're right in saying that for sure.
So I think in the US they require a president, treasurer, and secretary in every company. So the treasurer is a vital part of the society as well, and you are necessary, basically. Yeah, I'm just telling myself that as well. Okay, well, Howard, are you finished with your questions? You have another question?
No, that's it. Thank you.
What would I do if I lost all the abacus money?
What if you were like walking around with like a fat stack of cash and someone just mugged you on the spot?
Well, take that as a life lesson. Can't reverse time. So make sure not to be carrying that much money around when I'm walking.
Okay, but what if you say had to go to like a Chinese place and they required like one cash only and it's like 1, 2, 3K, and you had to get the cash there because no ATM's gonna let you withdraw 2, 3K at one time? How would you go around mitigating the chances of one losing the money and protecting yourself from potential like muggers?
So I wouldn't like take the cash out all at once. I'd like do it in separate occasions so that if I actually lose the money, I only lose like a partial amount, wouldn't lose the whole thing.
Okay, but you still have to go to the venue and carry those lump sum. How would you do that?
Bring the whole committee.
Bring the whole squad. Okay. Yeah. It is a very tricky situation. I advise, like, one, you should never tell anyone that you have money on you. You shouldn't tell friends. You shouldn't say anything. And obviously, if you're good at martial arts, that helps. But it's fine. Yeah, just be smart about how you handle these things, and you should be okay. What do you think? How do you think the current treasurer is performing this year? Would you change any aspects of what he has done throughout the year?
I like how many drinks he buys for us.
You mean increase or decrease?
Increase.
Okay, yeah. Is a question that everyone loves. Would you be providing free tickets to all events for X committee for life?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, that is the correct answer. Okay, let's see. I think that's. Yeah, I think in your intro you made a funny joke about handling money, but handling money is not a joke. That's all I would say. And yeah, I think, yeah, you've done pretty good. Has anyone else got any questions?
So you mentioned about you mentioned that you wanted to create a system where you'd be able to save the credit card details of all members, so they would be charged like immediately as soon as they reserve an event, rather than them having to pay for it after they get notified. Wouldn't you say that it's a bit of like an invasion of their privacy to be keeping their credit card details? And also, how would you ensure that their credit card details are secure?
Just have like a really long terms and agreement that they click accept on. And like most people probably won't read that, right? So
So you think it's a viable option to continue with this strategy?
I mean, I'll probably read into like the legal requirements and everything if I were to set it up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's a very typical question for treasurer at the AGM. So the boat party is very expensive to hold and minimum spend is quite high. Say on the night, you found out a member of Abacus who is typically known as a very big spender is late and can't make it onto the boat in time. What would you do? Would you like notify the boat to wait for them because you know they're going to contribute heavily to the spending? But yeah, basically, what would you do in that situation?
I try to negotiate first. Try and delay it as long as possible. And if they really have to leave without the valuable member, then try to compensate by pulling out of the hopefully we have savings in our Abacus bank and try to compensate with that.
Okay. But what if you had you've had information from the unis that there's not that many big spenders coming, and like you know you have to make this or else you're gonna be charged like 5K. Take your time, don't worry, it's a very difficult question.
Quick team meeting with the other Abacus treasurers and we like discuss.
Yeah, it's always a sensible idea. Okay. That was a very tricky question. And in fact, with the bow party, there is no min spend. So yeah, you would not be in that situation in the future. That was kind of a trick question. But with other events, there are definitely min spends, but we typically make them like well over. But yeah, and in that situation, like you should just go on the boat. Like you shouldn't tell the boat to stop because that will just cause all sorts of more issues. And yeah, I think that's. Anyone else got questions for Treasurer? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was great. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Okay, it's the vice presidents next. Could the three vice president candidates, could you guys stand up? I think Christian's first, so you can stay here. Wen and Kelvin, can you go out?
Hi, my name is Christian. I'm running for VP. If voted for, my main goal would be to increase the inclusivity of Abacus. Abacus has 456 current members, yet the vast majority are not seen at events. For having spoken to many Abacus members that do not attend the events, their comments are very consistent. Abacus is not very inclusive of non-drinkers and people that do not like clubbing. Now, as someone that somewhat enjoys these events, I fully intend to preserve the tradition of Chinese clubbing. However, I do think that as a cultural society, it would be very interesting to do other kinds of events to help the inclusivity. For instance, the dumpling making that was held around CNY, the dinners, the karaoke, and I'm sure, as Kelvin will mention, as we play together in live music sock, that it would, in terms of new events, I think it'd be very interesting to do an open mic night. That being said, going back to more I suppose, traditional events, the clubbing, for instance. I think one of the ways that the vice president can work harmoniously with the next president is that at clubbing events, so essentially external events. Pre's are very often very chaotic, and I think perhaps internally organized pre's, not necessarily compulsory, but I think it would be very good for helping the organization of society. For instance, from a perspective of practicality, it'd be a lot easier for ticket collections as, excuse me, as if many people are praying together, it means that if some people are unavailable to collect tickets, you'll need one person from that entire event to come and collect them. But from a perspective of inclusivity, I think that a recurring theme is that a lot of people that join Abacus later on find it difficult because they feel that maybe they don't have a group that's already established in Abacus, and therefore I think smaller internal events may help them feel more inclusive, more included, and therefore increasing the participation of the external clubbing events. In terms of what may differentiate me as a candidate, I think that essentially relying on nepotism. Over the last 5 years, I've worked in many places in Chinatown, as well as gained many contacts in Shaftesbury, which I noticed you guys were Googling. It's a real estate company that owns about 60% of the restaurants in Chinatown. And as a result, I'm in a position to negotiate lower prices for restaurants, which I have been told are usually the dinners that usually cost Abacus the most amount of money, as well as getting shorter waiting times and priority when booking these events.
That's it. Cool. Thank you. The great intro. Talks about inclusivity a lot. We'll get back to that later, but that's good stuff. Just slightly confused. The direction you took in what you just said right now contrasts quite starkly from your actual manifesto and your submission on the union website. So I'm trying to see what direction are you trying to take from your submission.
Essentially, it's mostly surrounding around increasing inclusivity. So still maintaining the events that we're currently doing.
No. I'm just talking about specifically like your actual application. So like the video you actually submitted and what you wrote here, because I don't really see they don't really bridge together. Yeah.
Well, in terms of the submission, it pretty much goes over the inclusivity that I mentioned. The point about getting easier, getting lower fees for restaurants, which is essentially the two primary points I'm making. And then I'm not sure that my presentation necessarily diverts from that.
Okay. No. Okay. I see where you're going with this. But I think as the VP, sometimes you perhaps more the softer side. So you're not as clubbing orientated, or you're not the external face of the society. You often you take care of the inner running. So is this the image that you would like the new members, especially freshers coming in, to perceive you as?
Well, ultimately, I think that as a social society, I think that it may. I honestly, yeah, I think that a fresher seeing this would.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I mean,
personality is always good. Personality is always good. Okay, so less about you. Let's talk about Abacus. So can you tell me about some of the main and perhaps classic Abacus events, both internal and external?
Both internal and external. Clubbing, the dinners, karaoke. Then
how many clubbings?
Sorry?
How many main clubbing events do we do?
Sorry?
So what are the main clubbing events we do every year? So name me three. Just name three.
CNY, Winter Ball, and
at the start of the year?
And end of year.
End of the year?
Okay. Halloween, for instance, close to the start.
Okay, cool. That's pretty good. Internals?
Internals. So I think some of the sporting events were internals. For instance, the rock climbing I believe, was internal. I think that towards the start of it, I don't know if this is considered a formal event, but I think the Abacus families, which ultimately, of course, are internal events, and did massively help create a community within the society. And then from there, I think that it is quite good to have the culture of having Abacus families organizing events independent of the society.
Pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about external events. So obviously the president handles most of the planning of the event, right? But you do play a small but perhaps quite important role as well. What do you think your main role is in external events?
In external events, I think ultimately this will be assisting the president. This can be in simple things like sending out tickets, especially for freshers, just making sure that they understand where they need to be, essentially just looking after them.
It's quite vague what you just said. Can you go into specifics? So, as in, what would you do in a club, or what would you do before the event actually starts?
Okay, before the event actually starts, I would say ensuring that, I suppose the ticket collection, for instance, ensuring that everyone has in fact collected their ticket, making sure that they understand where the venue is, what time to arrive there, essentially reiterating that it's important that they keep their ticket for that, as that if they lose it, it's not like the committee it's not up to the committee's discretion to allow them in. Then for clubs such as, say, the Winter Ball, reiterating that there's a dress code. So again, I think just making sure that there aren't any ambiguities and just giving clear communication.
That's fine. What about in the club?
In the club, I suppose just from a more overseeing kind of view, just making sure that everyone remains
Okay, so
safe.
I'll give you an example. So usually in clubbing events, perhaps treasurer will buy people drinks, so you'll probably have to go assist with that because it gets quite chaotic sometimes. And if sometimes people are having trouble, they might need a hand or something to the toilet, you also have to help. Okay. So,
Yeah, okay, so I think constantly just keeping an eye on everyone, making sure that everyone is still, maintaining a certain responsibility, especially in the context of drinking. With the point you made about the treasurer buying drinks, just making sure that then the treasurer himself also maintains some responsibility in the quantity that he is buying for people, both from, I suppose, a financial perspective and the fact that obviously you cannot have people drinking excessively.
I mean, but that's up to them how much they want to drink, no?
I think past the point of, if it gets to a point where it's compromising their safety or their judgment, it is somewhat of the responsibility of the committee to at least ensure that they're doing it in a safe way, so to intervene to an extent.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so internal events. So what are the main components of planning an event, do you think?
Planning an event. Okay, so was this just in general, or is it for internal?
Just in general, any kind of events.
Okay, so after having selected the event in question, so for example, clubbing, after having picked, so ensuring that the venue has the desired the specific capacity, then working out the price of the event, and then from there, the price of the tickets.
How do you know the price? You haven't found the venue, you haven't negotiated any of the price, you haven't asked the treasurer anything yet. So, because pricing is one of the big things, and I'll get to that later. There's actually quite a lot of controversy between unis and even, regarding pricing. So that's a key point. Would you be able to tell me more about what's the steps for you to confirm the cost, or, how much you're anticipating to make, whether you're trying to break even or make a profit, those kind of stuff. Just give me like a detailed thought process, not necessarily like the main steps. Just give me a detailed thought process of how do you reach the pricing point.
Okay, so ultimately, ordinarily for external events where you're talking about conferring with our unis, this would be
internals. So we do internal collaborations with other unis, because we usually refer to externals as clubbing events. So yeah,
okay. So for internal events, firstly, conferring with all the other unis to agree upon a venue and essentially the desired event. The thought process that would go through this is essentially making sure that the venue has the capacity to hold everyone, making sure, essentially, firstly deciding what the event should be. So for instance, if it should be a clubbing event or a dinner, etc. Then after having found a desired venue that can hold a number of people, then you have to contact the venue to make sure that they have the availability I suppose to check the availability, and then depending on that, to choose a date based around that. And then from there, also seeing if they have the physical capacity to hold everyone. And by that, I mean coming up with how many spaces you are intending to offer. Again, this will be discussed amongst all of the other unions. After doing so, then I suppose at that point, after having a date and a location, you would, and the number, you would have a price mandated by the venue. So from that point, you would then see, depending on the price, and I suppose that we'd have to discuss this with the president and the treasurer as to whether this is an event where we will make a loss, to break even, or make a profit. And I think that which one is chosen, I suppose, would primarily be up to the treasurer. However, the treasurer and the president. However, I imagine with the more expensive events, it would be, for reasons to do with inclusivity, more leaning towards breaking even, and then perhaps with the cheaper events, maybe an opportunity to attempt to make a profit so that later events could be subsidized.
Okay, good. Just take a deep breath. I think we've gone into quite a lot of details. I'm going to ask you something more generic now. So what kind of events do you want to do, especially? So from your own background or your own interests, is there any special type of activities that you would like to host next year?
On top of any ones that haven't already.
It doesn't really matter. Just anything you would like to do.
Okay, so ultimately, I do think that I suppose the more traditional ones, the clubbing, the karaoke's, and the dinners, I think are very popular, very successful, and that is for a reason. In terms of ones that are, I suppose, newer, I think what John was mentioning earlier about having more sporting related ones. So I think that within the society, I think that there are, as John was mentioning, there are a lot of members that do sports, or there are members that do sports that may not necessarily have had an event hosted for. Me personally, in terms of sports, I think it would be having spoken to a lot of people, I think it'd be very interesting to do some martial arts based ones. Given that is part of my own interest, and I've spoken to a lot of other members that have a similar one. As for a more creative aspect, I do think the concept of having open mic nights, which I've seen in other cultural societies, and that is an idea that I have somewhat borrowed from Live Music Society, I think would be very interesting, given that there are a lot of musicians in Abacus. In fact, I don't think there's a single one I've spoken to that doesn't play an instrument.
Okay, that's nice.
Besides Luca, I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
You can sing, right? We'll see tonight.
What do you think is one of your main strengths, or perhaps a strength over the other two candidates that you have that they don't offer, that you can provide for Abacus and our members?
Besides nepotism, as I previously mentioned, I think that I have an understanding of the importance of trying to create an inclusive community that perhaps I'm emphasizing more. So I think that and I do completely respect the fact that I do intend to still maintain essentially all of the key components that the current Abacus members love about the society. I do think that there are a lot of avenues to increase the number of members and generically just see it as a diversification as much a substitution, as opposed to a substitution.
Okay. So you mentioned you have loads of contacts with restaurants and stuff. That's actually great because we often host our events in restaurants, right? So besides from actually negotiating lower prices, what do you think you can actually achieve out of your relationships with these restaurants?
Okay, well, for instance, just speaking from previous experiences, I think the main one in terms of practicality will be priority when booking. So I presume that when it comes to organizing things like dinners, that is a fairly large barrier to finding a day in which the restaurant is content for you to book out the entire restaurant, and also then ensuring to them that it will not be unprofitable for them to do so. And I do think that priority, that would be very useful. But on top of that, I just do think that the personal relationship that exists would just mean generically just better service. So for instance, if we take the CNY dinner, pleasant as it was, I did notice that the staff were, as you generally find staff in Chinese restaurants. And I do think that I think it's just a pleasant thing to have.
But outside of actual events, do you think, so I'm referring to things like probably sponsorships or perhaps, extra discounts for only our society members. Do you think you can achieve that using your links with these restaurants and shops?
But that you're saying, so for instance, with the membership card, whether Abacus members could get, say, a discount.
Are you confident that you can, because currently it's actually quite difficult to achieve that, especially after COVID. So do you think you'll be able to bring on more of these deals onto the table
I think
using
there
your
are
advantage?
at least a couple restaurants where I can fairly confidently say yes, and then others that, I mean, I can't ensure that now, just ultimately because I do not want to make any false promises. However, it's not completely out of the question. It's not improbable, in fact.
Okay, that's great. That's something that, that would help us really quite a lot. So I'll just give you an example right now. So this is an actual event that happened last year. So we had quite a so in between unis, we usually decide on a price per person, depending on who actually made the booking and stuff, and we resell it to our members, right? And obviously, we often actually subsidize, and with a good financing plan, like we did last year, especially with presidents and treasurers' work, we had quite a large capability of subsidizing our events. But then sometimes other unis are not able to subsidize as much, and it would come across as if we're trying to undercut their pricing. So how would you navigate that?
So
and
would you be able to just repeat the second to last sentence you said?
So basically, between the unis, we all agree a price for each person. So we sell it for like 20 quid per person, right? And we actually subsidize that further upon that 20 quid. So we might sell it for £10, something like that. But some other unis might actually not have the profit to do that. So they might think we're undercutting the price. So they might disagree with our pricing, and some of the unis might actually back out of the event. What would you do in that case?
Well, ultimately, in the event in which, say, we are financially able to subsidize our prices more so than a uni is unable to, firstly, I think like this will take a lot of negotiation with the other unions, but I think a reasonable argument to present is that contrary to, say, any other types of, we wouldn't be competing with them because it's not like, say, a King student would be able to purchase a ticket through the ICO website. So I think going from that perspective that we're not actually competing with them. We're selling the same product, but we're not selling it to the same population. Therefore, to refer to it as undercutting is to suggest that in doing so, we're incentivizing, say, King students to, just as an example, to buy tickets from us. But I assume that for external events, each uni is given the same number of tickets to sell to its students. So therefore, the supply is constant at each uni, and the population to sell to is not variable amongst multiple producers.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much, because at the end of the day, you are serving our members. So you always put our members, their advantage as the first thing you see. So as much as you can subsidize, because we have the volume to actually take up whatever tickets that's left if a uni actually leaves back out of an event. So don't worry about it too much. So put our members first, always. And I think our XX VP is going to ask you, President is going to ask you something now. So good luck.
Thanks.
Howard, do you have a question?
Yeah, just one question. So you mentioned that, could you repeat your answer on what your strength was over the other candidates? Was it about having more of an emphasis on creating an inclusive environment?
Yeah, so I say this more from just having spoken to the other candidates and seeing what their values were in contrast to mine. I do think that one of the main, more notable points is that, as I said, there are 456 current Abacus members, yet I think a very, very tiny fraction of them actually attend events. And I do think that this is because there is a narrower range of the types of events. But aside from that, in terms of, I suppose, because these are values that I suppose the other two candidates can adopt. So in terms of things that specifically put me aside, I would have to rely on the fact that I believe I can get reduced prices and priority booking at a lot of restaurants in Chinatown and Soho.
So yeah, saying that you can book a lot of restaurants in Chinatown. Aside from that, are you saying that the other presidents can't create an inclusive environment?
I'm not saying that. However, it's not something that they have necessarily demonstrated an interest in doing. So, for instance, and this is just from having read their manifesto and speaking to them. It's not something that like they've necessarily said, I have no intention of changing Abacus, but instead keeping exactly how it is. But even so, I do think that I have a greater emphasis on increasing the inclusivity of the society. That being my, I suppose, central goal within my candidacy.
So since you've seen the manifestos of other candidates and spoken to them, what do you think their central goal is then?
So having looked at the other twos, I think they massively, well, I mean, I suppose they spoke more about their opinions of the society as opposed to, I suppose, policies or goals. However, a theme I noticed in both of them was that they do see how Abacus has become a very close-knit community and how that made them feel, I suppose, more secure, as a lot of other candidates have said, in having grown up as British Chinese or as just any other style of Chinese. There are cultural differences that we have, having lived in a obviously British society, and I do think that that sense of community that Abacus has is quite favorable, and hence I think they've really emphasized that in their manifesto. And ultimately, I still have those values, which is why I do think that increasing inclusivity of the society would be very useful, as then I suppose you just have more people that feel that, say, their Abacus family or their primary friends are Imperial, or the fact that it's very good to branch out and meet people that aren't on your course, or in your course, for instance.
All right, thanks.
I think that's time to do some other candidates now. But thanks. Next is Kelvin.
Thank you. Hello, hello. All right, should I go? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today and supporting everyone who's running. My name is Kelvin, and I'm a first-year chemical engineering student. I'm going to start by introducing myself to everyone who doesn't really know me. I'm notoriously known for my outrageously disproportionate ass and being unnecessarily loud. To be honest, Abacus has been the highlight of my first year, and has been the only place where I felt like I could express what culture at home was like. Growing up in Surrey and surrounded by white dons, I'm sure most of you can relate that you can never really feel quite in place, but that changed when I came to Imperial. I had very low expectations, yet Abacus was immediately warm and inviting, and this is exactly the type of community I want other people to also experience. What better role than Vice President to do that? I believe I have suitable qualities for this role, since I have experience in leading and organizing several societies and groups. I'm just going to say this to tick the boxes for the committee, but an example would be I was a music captain in secondary school. I had to also balance being the school's main guitarist, managing studies, working in my parents' restaurant every night. I was that kid that was taking orders while doing homework, and also volunteering. So I'm certain that time management and organization won't be an issue. Since the VP also needs to assist the president on larger events, it helps that I'm already mates with 50% of the candidates. However, although I have experience of running clubs and societies, I definitely have a lot of things that I need to improve on. Obviously not my bunda, of course. Although I already know what being a vice president entails, this opportunity would for sure help me grow and gauge being a vice president and how I can cater to everyone so they can get the best out of what we can offer. Hopefully I can also do as well as a job as this year's VP as well. You might already know that I have basically nothing else going on in my life, so you know I'll be fully dedicated to Abacus and making sure everything runs smoothly. I do think that Imperial is quite an academic university, so it can be a very dry environment in terms of lack of creativity. So I think bringing collaborations with other societies, like live music, for example, would be a good idea. Introducing open mic nights where you can form a spontaneous band on the night and perform on that same day would be a great idea, I think. Maybe movie nights or even cultural events like dragon dance, kung fu, authentic cooking classes would be a great addition. I'm sure many of you can agree that Abacus can be a very relaxing yet chaotic break from the very little work we do anyway. So since this community has been with me from the very start of university, if there is any way I can support the longevity and the excitement, then I'm on it. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Right, cool. Thank you. Great intro. Talked about loads of different events. That's nice. Just a bit of a weird question. Can you use 3 words to describe yourself in terms of how you want to portray yourself to other incoming freshers or members of Abacus? Just 3 words and explain why.
I'd like to say I'm welcoming, but I can definitely improve on that. I would say I'm quite knowledgeable of what Abacus has to offer. So if any questions they have to ask me, I can definitely provide information. And I'll say relatable. I have quite a lot of experience, not to brag, but in a lot of different areas of subjects and stuff like that. So yeah, I can help out in any way I can.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a bit more about Abacus itself. So can you tell me about the main external and internal events that we do for Abacus every year?
Yeah,
so
I know
few.
1010 is a very standard event that happens every year. Definitely the Chinese New Year dinners. I would also say karaoke, probably. That's quite a popular internal event that happens most of the years. And Winter Ball as well, I think. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay, so to some other main events such as like clubbing, perhaps Halloween or those kind of stuff are quite important, especially and Christmas dinner. That's an internal that we do with other unis, so those are also quite important. So just keep in mind of that.
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned 1010. So 1010 obviously is a very big event, right? And it's loads of people packed in a club. What do you think in external events is your main role? Before the event and during the event?
Well, as vice president, the main role is to organize internal events, but obviously you have to assist the president. So I think the main role of me would just be liaising with the treasurer and the president in helping any way I can, really. So looking at like the capacity or like the prices or, just managing like the tickets, stuff like that.
Okay, what about in the club? What do you think?
In the club?
It's your main job. It's quite small, but quite important.
I mean, obviously we want to make sure that everyone comes out alive, hopefully. Just making sure that everybody is in good condition, no, fights or, just anything.
What would you do if the president suddenly blacks out and, he can't get out of the club? What would you do?
Well, I mean, as vice, I would just take over. Anything that he needs me to do, I'll do. But if needed, yeah, I'll just take up all of the roles that the president normally fulfills. Okay,
no, that's a very good answer. Okay, so let's say you're trying to plan an event, not a specific one, just an event, perhaps an internal. What are the main parts of actually, trying to plan an event and making it happen? What do you think are the main components?
Okay. Well, first of all, we want to look at what venue, if we're collaborating with any other universities. Also the pricings to make sure that we either, well, no profit or preferably revenue generated. Also, talking to the secretary probably about what prices we can give out. If it's like in-person tickets or if it's just like, just like you just pay and you just go in. I think that's it really.
I think one key thing to remember there is that actually the treasurer handles most of the transaction for payments and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily for you to decide how it's done, because it's easier for the treasurer to keep track of everything. Everything is done systematically. And you mentioned pricing. Do you remember that internals are often subsidized because we try to basically give back to our members a bit more? Right?
Yeah, of course.
And just on that topic, so let's say so for example, Christmas dinner, right? It's quite an expensive event in a way, and we often actually subsidize more than other unis. And what would you do if one of the VPs from another uni approaches you and say, we are not happy with your pricing, we feel like you're undercutting our price, and it puts a bad look on us, and they want you to increase your price, or they threaten you to back out of the event? What would you do?
Okay, well, I mean, Vice President of Imperial, you're in charge of Imperial. You're not in charge of any other universities. It doesn't really matter what they say. If anything, I'll just stand my ground. If they threaten, then yeah, sure, go ahead. It shouldn't really make a difference to us.
That's a very good answer. That's exactly what you need to do. Okay, so a bit more about yourself. So what events do you personally want to do? So from your background, you mentioned like open mic nights and stuff like that. What events is something that you really want to do and promote, perhaps from your own perspective?
Well, I mentioned the open mic night because I'm a musician. I like music particularly. So definitely anything music related, or even art creation, or just creativity. Because like I mentioned, Imperial, I think, really lacks anything that isn't clubbing or, just the standard events, anything that really kind of sets us out apart from the other university basic events, I think will be a good addition.
Okay, that's fine, but you have to keep in mind that, an event like that takes a lot of planning and requires a lot of funding for revenues and stuff. So what if the responses are not that good and you can't really actually break even for that event, and you actually make a massive loss? What would you do?
Well, I mean, firstly, I did say that I wanted that event to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will happen. First of all, you've got to gauge what the actual society wants, maybe do a poll to see if anybody's even interested. If they are, and it doesn't break even or we make a loss, we can always use other events to kind of counteract that. But I think the main problem would just be getting enough people. And if there aren't enough people, then the event just won't happen.
Yep. Howard, do you want to ask a question now? I think Luca's gonna unmute you. Luca, do you want to?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So can you guys hear me? Okay, hear me. So if your president is really drunk during a public event and you have to event, what would you do?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't really hear that.
Oh, sorry. So let's say you're at a public event, right? And you haven't hit spend, and your president is really, really drunk and can't really function, which is sort of what I went through, not gonna lie. What would you do?
Well, first of all, obviously, make sure he gets back home safe. Second of all, obviously, since it's not on functionable condition, I'd happily take over any roles I need to take over. So, anything that the president normally does, I can always take care of. Yeah.
What would the president have to take care of?
Oh, anything to do with really just like the paying, maybe. Well, that's the treasurer's job, but to be honest, I'm not really sure actually.
I mean, so basically, who would you have to talk?
Well, I guess obviously just talk with the other committee members, but from the events previous to that night, I guess I could just take in what the president has done for those events and just duplicate that basically.
Duplicate what?
Just any responsibilities he had for that specific event.
So what responsibilities would that be? Because if the president's incapacitated, let's say, and he can't give you any information, how would you find that out? How do you know what to do?
I mean, honestly, it really depends on what happens on that night. It's more like it's not, you can't really plan that type of situation out. It's more like spontaneous and you just have to act on that night. But I guess we'll probably like have like a group chat or something where all the details are in there, so I could probably use that information to help out.
So in a clubbing event, would you typically have another university organizing it with you and sort of in charge of the event as well?
Sorry, could you say that again?
So in a clubbing event, you typically be organizing it with another university, right?
Yeah.
So can you ask the other president, like what sort of role that you could fulfill and what you need to do in place of your president?
Yeah, of course. But like I said, I'm the VP of Imperial Abacus, so if it's like very specific to the university, I don't necessarily need to implicate that. But any suggestions obviously will be really helpful. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, cool. So, okay, so another question about our president being incapacitated. Not quite, but so what if your president is, having loads of problems, or like he isn't able to manage the workload, or he just isn't there, and you have, and that has been a while, perhaps like half a year. What would you do? And what would you do if you're entirely clueless about what you need to do?
I mean, there's always the X committee that I can always ask help for. But if it's been quite a long time and he's not been able to help out, I'm always happy to take over the role of the president. But obviously, I would definitely need help from the current committee and the X committee on what I would need to do and help organize events and stuff like that.
Okay, that's quite a good idea. So also, I'm going to ask something that I had as a personal experience. So this year it's been quite difficult for us to organize pre's. So it used to, before that, we can just book a room and do pre's, and we'll bring in some drinks. But because of COVID and stuff, and how union really toughened up their security rules for union, it's been super difficult to do that. But we would actually like to, bring pre's back for our major events like, 10 and stuff like that. So what are some ideas that you can bring to the table?
I mean, every first year is basically accommodation. That is always an option, especially in the South Ken accommodations. Other than that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a venue. There are always free spaces we could use, maybe even places like Hyde Park and places like that. And also, pre's doesn't necessarily need to be with every single person. We can always split up into groups to make the venue selection a bit more easier.
Yes, but the whole point of pre's for like first clubbing events like 10 is actually to get people, especially freshers, together in like a nice, safe and environment to actually just enjoy a few drinks together before heading out to the club, which you have to bring them to. So how would you go about actually finding a venue for that? So what if we have to do it in a venue to accommodate like 50, 60 people? What would you do?
Well,
and union is not, it's not a possible venue to use union or any rooms in Imperial. What can you do?
Well, first of all, we'll know the date, I'm guessing, quite a long time beforehand. With that extra time, we can always go very far ahead in like a few months' time and then book a room or a venue somewhere close to the area. It doesn't have to be anything special, but yeah, just make sure that you're organized ahead of time, so you basically have the facilities to actually be able to book that area.
Okay, that's a good idea. So perhaps some options might be pubs and bars.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do look out for those. So, so a specific scenario. So we often do dinner events and especially inter-uni dinner events, such as Chinese New Year dinner. So let's say we have space for 100 people and we're fully booked. Everyone's named and everyone's sit down. And suddenly like 10 more people turned up. What would you do?
I mean, of course, if they didn't get a ticket, then they're not allowed in. Simple as that, really. Of course, I wouldn't be like cruel about it. Just tell them to. Yeah, just tell them to leave.
Okay, let me change the scenario a bit. So this is no longer, just a genuine. It's actually the freshest dinner. Okay, so
Right.
5 more freshers turn up. What would you do?
Okay. It's a bit of a stretch, but I would kindly ask any higher years to maybe leave. I can always refund their ticket, get them to get their money back. Because I would say freshers are definitely a priority whenever it comes to any society, getting them involved. I mean, I would happily just like also leave the event so they can have a space. But yeah, freshers are always priority.
Okay, perfect. So I think rather than first thing going to ask the people who has actually paid to leave the venue, as committee, you should be ready to actually sacrifice your place because you organize it. It's nice to actually just get the freshers to know each other, and they might be sometimes just a bit clueless. So it's fair on the first few events to let that happen. Okay, yeah. So can you give me 3 strengths that you think you have above the other candidates and 1 main weakness?
Okay.
What makes you stand out the most? 3 reasons, and what makes you weaker?
From what I've heard, I feel like I definitely have more experience in leadership and organization and stuff like that. Because in secondary school and college, I was very involved in societies, clubs. So I've always had quite a bit of experience in that role. 2 more, right, to stand out. Okay. Let's see. I'm serious. I'm a serious candidate. I mean, I can be serious when I need to be, but I'm always, willing to have a bit of fun. Not always, too boring.
One more. You can.
I go gym. Weakness, yeah. I'll definitely say I occupy myself with too many things to do, but that kind of keeps me going because I'm kind of forced to get that stuff done. But obviously, abacus will be my priority since I don't really take my course seriously anyway. So yeah, just overbooking myself really, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure you can work on that. So, last question.
Okay, basically it's just like trying to do my course but not really doing it. Yeah, so and it's like a hint of music and that's it. Yeah. Chemical engineering. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for your time. I think we can move on to the next.
Great. Thank you very much.
Just introduce yourself, present yourself, tell us why you want to vote for you today.
Hi. You can start if you want to.
Hey everyone, I'm Wen Xing and I'm a first year computing student and I would love to have the opportunity to be a vice president next year. I've had the best start with Abacus this year and the committee was so warm, so welcoming, and I've made some of my closest friends through Abacus. It's helped me settle in so well through uni and Imperial life, and I want to ensure that the freshers next year as well also get that opportunity. So I want to give back and contribute to the society more next year through organising more social activities that bring us closer together. I believe that I've thoroughly immersed myself in the society, having attended all the social events from club nights to dinners, and Abacus, Abacus club events have honestly been the top highlights for me this year. And I believe that I have the creativity, the dedication, and the organizational skills required to continue to give Abacus the best possible experience and make sure it's an organized and inclusive community. I'm determined to continue the vice president tradition and get lots of new freshers involved while making our social events just as fun for non-drinkers too. I'd love to host more socials internally, especially while everyone's recovering from those intense inter-uni clubbing nights. This will make Abacus a truly welcoming environment for both current and new members to allow the celebration of our heritage. I want to include some more sober and relaxing activities like dumpling making night, especially when everyone's recovering from clubs. Other ideas could be like karaoke, bowling, mini golf, dinner night, like paintball, and one that kind of attracted me from this event that attracted me from like Indian sock and stuff was the Take Me Out that they did on Valentine's Day. I thought that was really jokes, and I would love to have the opportunity to host that for Abacus as well. I'd love to introduce new ideas such as integrating other societies, more in Imperial, so we can create an even bigger community. I think a good change would be to use our Instagram polls more often to see who's interested in more events, and to see if anyone has more suggestions for us for these internal events and stuff like that. Although I've not been on committee before, but my participation in Abacus so far has demonstrated that I'm prepared to take on this role and the challenges that come along with it. This includes being responsible for a large group, including freshers, organising internal events, supporting the president, whoever it may be next year. And this is something that I'm ready to take on with confidence. Oh yeah, also I'd love to give a shout out to Patrick for my campaign posters as well.
Okay, cheers. Just two warm-up questions. So first one, would you mind going through how you chose your outfit today and the particular color and cutting of your suit in particular? Would you mind like moving over a bit to show us the full, you know?
So
trousers seem a bit short though.
You guys ready? So I thought Abacus, you know, you normally associate the Chinese community with red, so I chose something maroon. That was the closest thing I had. And then, yeah, I can't lie, this is my sixth form outfit. Nothing else.
That's cute. Trousers seem a bit short, but that's fine. Yeah, get them lengthened a bit. You've grown, so.
I was gonna wear my special my rainbow socks, but my friends told me it was a bit too informal. So
I think we're cool with that in Abacus. So just to expand on that, would you mind using 3 colors to describe yourself and why you chose those 3 colors, and why do you think they suit you well?
Wait, sorry, 3 colors I can't really hear.
So use 3 colors to describe yourself, and explain why those 3 colors.
Okay. I would choose. Okay, the first color I would choose is maybe yellow, because this is I'm proud of my heritage, and you know I'm proud of where I come from. You know, another color would be black. I'm from Newcastle, so that's the color of the football strip. I can't lie. And another color, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe blue, like my t-shirt in the photo. Blue's a nice color. Why not?
So following from that color question, what is your favorite color?
What's my favorite color?
Why? Give us deep meanings for it.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so basically my favorite color, is black, because when you look at it, it's very, very dark.
Okay, interesting.
That's it.
Choice. Very dark. Okay.
Is there any other deeper meaning to why black is your favorite color?
Black, you know, black can be associated with lots of different things, like anything, like dark humor, like
Is
Particular symbolism. To be fair, I mean the color black. I mean we can choose any color and we can kind of describe it. But I think black is the most common. They have a very beautiful culture as well, black people. I would definitely love to integrate my society, the abacus, with like different societies.
Okay, the reason I asked that is people's favorite color tends to describe what they think about themselves. But yeah.
I see.
Less about you now. So back to Abacus. So can you name me some of the main external and internal events that takes place every year that are staples basically of in order?
In order. So haven't been to all of them. Obviously the first external, I'll go for the externals first. The first external, 10-10. Second external. Ooh. Crazy. I'm stuck.
Don't worry, we get it. You go to too many of them. That's all right. Just name me a few main ones, main internals and main externals.
So obviously you have the 10-10, you have the Halloween, you have like Asian Glow, you have Chinese New Year, you have the one next week as well, end of year party. Yeah, I can't lie, those are the main ones I remember. All the other times I've been blackout.
Okay, so you spoke about clubbing external events quite a lot. So why did you not go for the president's role and rather the VP role? And can you tell me more about if you become the VP, what's your main job related to external events before and during the event?
Okay, to answer your first question, I chose VP because I think the president's role is mostly at external events, which is like clubbing and everything. But I feel like I want to introduce more like internal, more like wholesome events for like non-drinkers and stuff like that. So next year, freshers can also you can enjoy the clubbing nights, but they can also enjoy like if not heavy drinkers, then they can also enjoy nights where we have just dinners or just something more chill.
So you're saying externals are not really wholesome and they're really rowdy and stuff?
No, of course they're wholesome. They're wholesome, of course. I mean, I've been to every single one of them, but I think I want to give a more wider experience to the freshers next year. Create more events. Obviously, with the clubbing events, we're going to have a lot of them as well. But I feel like this year, more internals, more dinners, more kind of like chances we can like talk together, create, continue having our great community.
That's
that kind
cool.
of thing.
Is there any particular events that you yourself particularly want to do? So out of your own interest, that's something you want to promote a lot.
An event that I want to prepare?
Yeah, something that you want to run and something that's new and you personally really want to do it.
Yeah, like I said in my speech, I really want to do like an abacus take me out or something on Valentine's Day, or like maybe abacus speed dating, because I saw my mates like in Indian song, they were collaborating with different unis and stuff like that. They had like a really fun time. It was all jokes. Everyone was just rinsing each other. So I think that'll be really fun.
Okay. A follow up to that, what you said. How will you tackle the perception of abacus being seen as a very much incestuous, like dating within the society kind of thing? Like with Take Me Out, that's gonna just emphasize that more. And there has been reasons, like we used to do Asian Glow as something else, but like it got renamed to Asian Glow because a lot of people didn't like the fact that it was very much like speed dating. So how would you tackle that opinion from people